Hello and welcome to the Hustle Over Everything podcast. This is the podcast where we receive stories, tips, and strategies from entrepreneurs who've done it. Today on the podcast, we're covering our top underdog stories of the year. So, I'm excited to get into it. Owen, what's good with you? What were some of the most underdog, impactful stories you experienced this year? Let's go.
Man, Alex, again, happy anniversary. It's been a long journey to be here.
Yeah.
And, bro, we've done it. 1 year in the books, over 78 episodes done, and many more to go. But to get to my favorite episode that I've ever heard, the story that really impacted me the most is, there's a couple. But, the more I think about it, the more I actually understand that Pierre Laguerre's story was one of my favorites that really stood out in terms of a human experience. He endured a lot of tragedies in his life, with his daughter being in the hospital, as well as personal setbacks that happened to him with undue circumstances, being mugged, shopping for his mom, getting some food for his mom, but still coming back strong, going door to door, doing a side hustle. Let me clean your window for $5, and then building his business and being building a fleeting business and etc. Being on the pitch, being the first black man to raise $1 million at a public platform. All of this was amazing to see, and just to understand his setbacks and everything he endured to be where he is today showed perseverance, persistence, and grit to really make it happen. So that really was a big takeaway for me.
And unfortunately, I got into a car accident in 2014, and I had lost my first truck and kind of lost everything. And I found myself right back again to that same community, right? And I had to start from scratch. And I think this is where also, again, I had the other opportunity to build my other two businesses that we can talk about now. But when I lost my truck back and found myself back in the hood again, it was much more like, how do I bounce back real quick? What do I do now, right? And thank God I read a book called What the CEO Wants You to Know, right? And that book really changed my entire perception. Then I started thinking, okay, my takeaway from that book was volume and profit margin, right? Then I'm starting thinking, well, okay, how do I apply this into the real world, right? What is it that I can sell in volume? And, and it doesn't have to be super expensive. It could be 5-10 cents, of course. But if I could sell 1 million of them per week, I said I could be profitable. I really couldn't come up with anything attractive at the time. And I lost everything I've had that year in 4 months, went through my savings. I had a vehicle that got repo, gone. My truck ended up being repo. So now, like I said, finding myself back to square one. And I came up with, I said, well, since I was walking everywhere in Brooklyn now, and this is really interesting. And I was seeing a lot of glass from the beauty salon, the windows from the beauty salon, the barbershop, the restaurant. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, I said, well, if I could clean 100 stores, per week and charge them $10 per store, I said I could make $1,000 a week. I said maybe I should start a business like that. And I went and told a friend about it, and he was like, "Man, people gonna think you a crackhead, man." I was like, I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, first and foremost, you pull yourself out of here. You moved out of the hood. You got yourself a truck. You're doing good. Now you lost it. Now you back here again talking about you want to clean windows. People gonna think you on drugs." I said, "Well, at the end of the day, something got to give. I don't have anything." And he's like, "Yeah, that's true." I said, "Well, do the math." I said, if we get 100 customers, I said, we can make some money. He said, "You know what? If you get 50 customers, I'll do it with you." So no lie, man. I'm trying to make this one short as I can. I took him
as long as you can, man. It's okay.
Man, look, I took him on his offer. I woke up the following morning. I solicited the entire Brooklyn. Hey, I started knocking on doors like, "Hey, my name is Pierre. We have a service that specializes in glass cleaning. We'll do it X, Y, and Z." That same day, I had 72 stores agree for me to clean their glass. I borrowed $80 from my little sister, went to Home Depot, got me 2 buckets, some towels, and some spongy. Bro, no lie, with no shame in our game again, we went full throttle and started cleaning glass. In 3 months, we made $62,000. We had all of Metro PCS, all the 7-Elevens, and that's the money that I took that started my next company, which is Mac Transport, that I grew into another $2.2 million in revenue and then built another trucking company off of cleaning glass. And then life, I don't know, man. Life just has a way of just throwing curveball at me, and I don't call myself a victim of circumstances because I truly appreciate every curveball that I've experienced in life because they make me who I am today. in 2017, I had a son that was born with Down syndrome, right? And that really, really started affecting my business and started affecting me personally, emotionally, financially. You know, at that time, I didn't care about no business. I didn't care about no trucks. I didn't care about no drivers. You know, all I wanted was my son to be alive, knowing that, you know, he had to go through multiple heart surgeries. And that really started really affecting my business. My son went into the first heart surgery in March 2018. And, you know, that was very hard for me to take, man. Like emotionally, I was all over the place. I really couldn't deal with it. Like I said, now my business has really started really falling apart. And he came out his first surgery. Then he went in for the second surgery, which is in May. And that one was a little hard on me because it's like, okay, it was like, here come the first one. Now it's like, you're telling me there's a second one. So it's like, you know, more fear started to really accumulate. And I really fell into this state of mind where I started feeling sorry for myself, which, you know, it ain't usually me. It was more like, you know, why me, God? Like, why do I have to have a son that was born with this condition? I really just felt like I started adapting to this negative way of thinking. And before you know it, man, like, another part of my story that I don't really talk much about is when my son was going through his second surgery, my mother lives in Orlando and she came in town to visit my son in the hospital. And I stopped at this restaurant in Brooklyn to pick up some food for my mother, right? And unfortunately, I was mugged and I had my skull cracked, right?
Damn, bro.
7 staples in my head. Like, I mean, horrible. Like, from left ear to right ear, you probably can still see the scars from here. It goes all around my head. Right, 67 staples, and you know, when I tell you that put everything back to square one. Now, me and my son, we in a hospital fighting for our lives. Right, he's in a hospital across the street. I'm in Kings County. He in another one called Downstate. They're both across the street from each other on the same main street. And I remember one thing that kept me going was seeing how hard my son was fighting, man. At 4 months old, this kid was really putting up a fight. Like, he didn't want to go out, right? So I kept seeing videos. Let me show you guys something. And I said, you know what? There's no way I'm going to give up. Hold on one second. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is my head.
Damn. Wow.
God damn. So basically, you got to describe to the listeners. So
what we're seeing right now is we're seeing Pierre's skull close to the top. Behind his hairline, there's like a staple. His hair separated.
It's literally ear to ear.
Ear to ear.
Like a what do you call it?
Looks like
a tiara almost. That ripped off his whole scalp.
It's like a headphone. Imagine like your headphone left an imprint.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Imagine your headphones left an imprint.
What about you?
I'm gonna have to go with Paul C. Brunson. You know, to have his wife liquidate her. Matter of fact, let's get into episode 70 with Paul C. Brunson.
Matchmaking.
That's insane.
Wow.
You quit working for a billionaire to get into matchmaking.
Jeez.
Everyone thought it was that same look that y'all are giving me right now. That like you're crazy. You probably need to be committed to some type of facility. You know, that's the same look everybody gave me. Everybody told me matchmaking was a terrible move, except for Andre and my wife. Those two said it was a good look.
That was my follow-up question is, what did the woman say? Because we all don't matter. It's when you go home at night and you're talking to her and she's like, hold on, you gonna do what? You know,
it's like, you left a billionaire to be a matchmaker?
Exactly. Yeah. You know, that's what really matters. If she's okay with it, you know, that's when, you know, you have the real green light.
Man, I mean, she was not only okay with it, she also liquidated her 401k so that we would have startup capital. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was one of those where it was a strong move. Strong move.
Damn. Oh, you're not reacting. That's good, bro. You know what? He just said she liquidated her 401k, bro. Let's get into episode 48. How she built a 7-figure hair company with Vivian K.
A year after I started the business, I got pregnant. And so I started this business, got pregnant. By the time I had my son, which was in March of 2014, it was a 6-figure business. And so then, so now I had this baby, I had this booming business, and my son's father was like, hey, we have a baby. You got a business I can help you out with, ooh, baby, ooh, let's go half on a business and a baby. So I was like, okay, cool. Like what woman would say no to that? Right. I should have said no. So then, this was me. I was doing everything for the business, shipping, customer service, doing all that. And I'd given him a percentage of the business in order to help not only help me run the business, but to also keep my family together. But it turns out he had other plans. And then I would say maybe 6 months after, I'd signed the dotted line to give him 40% of my business, he bounced. And, I dealt with that. Like I let him stay in the business because I was still trying to keep my family together. And then one day in 2016, like in June of 2016, I just woke up and said I was done. So I had my son in 2014, March of 2014. February 2015, we signed an agreement. I gave him 40% of my business. And then by I want to say September of 2015, he bounced. And then tried to eat his cake, have his cake and eat it too. And then by June of 2016, I said I'd had enough. I was done, and I fired him from the company. And then we went to court for we had court battle for about a year, and then I finally in August of 2017 got full control over my business. Now during that time, by December of 2016, I know that it's a lot of dates all over the place, but by 2016, I'd hit my first $1 million in sales. Wow. So I had to get my business back because I had this business that was growing, but I couldn't get access to capital or funding because his name was tied to the business. Right. So I had to get his name off my business in order to grow the business. So do I recommend working with your significant other? No, I do not, especially if it's a business that you started, but can they play a part in it? Absolutely. Pay them accordingly, but don't give them a percentage. But that's just, and again, it's my experience, but you really need to vet who you let into your business because I wouldn't mix business with pleasure again, ever again.
Hey, so that wraps up our top underdog moments of the year. This is something quick for y'all, quick three-pack, you know what I'm saying? So if you like those, make sure you subscribe to us on your podcast platform. If you haven't followed us on Instagram yet, make sure you go do that at 247Hustler. And yes, we will see you on the next one. I appreciate you guys. Peace.